Hey guys, it's me, Estabak. I wanted to do a video about my most recent painting. It's a bit of a study, and what I really wanted to talk about is how important it is to keep your brush large early on. This is one of the few paintings that I do in the week. Like, I do a lot and I try to do as much work as possible, but this is one of the few ones that was actually successful. And it's mostly because I kept my brush large early on. As you can see, I'm blocking in a lot of the most necessary core geometries, the geometries that are linked to the cube, meaning that the sides of stuff, the edges of stuff, whatever the object is, it has a side and an edge and a core shadow and a highlighter. All of these can be done with really, really similar brush sizes. Now the eyes are very different. Dark spots, I do like to shrink the brush around the dark spots, of course, because they are the only areas of high contrast. So that brush naturally goes down on its own. Severe lines like the delicate little depressions, those minute depressions around the eyelids, those I shrink the brush around. But I go right back up when I'm dealing with larger areas, the major symmetries, the major geometries of the anatomy of the eye, the function. The nose highlights, as you can see, I'm using a pretty large brush, trying to edge it out and really think about what the geometry is before throwing in a dark spot. And you can see I always leave dark spots for the last. I'm not drawing in any lashes at all, and lashes can be really tricky because it's like a tug of war. You're still pushing back on the values, making sure that everything sits very well. Only after you know and are confident with the temperature of the values should you shrink your brush and uh, add in whatever details you feel are necessary for the character, longer lashes, some sort of heavy brows, whatever the character demands. Never allow the details to govern what you're doing initially with your brush. The stuff that happens in the beginning of the painting, none of that really has to do with the character's specificities. All of it has to do with the sciences. There's two things that separate, major two things that you have to learn about painting a face. The anatomies and the biology, like the basic biology, and then the sciences, when it's no longer a face but a form, a geometry, a geometric landscape. That means that we're either going to do one or the other. We can't do it both at the same time early on. So you can use a line and some sketches to sort of sketch out what the kind of an anatomy you're going to deal with, so to perfect the symmetries and all of that stuff. But I didn't sketch. I went straight in with the large brush because I know that the science is when I have a good hold over the form and light on form and light on geometry, I know that the anatomy will have a good anchor underneath it. All that anatomy will have a good form underneath it. Basically, it's a sketch is obsolete. A sketch can only do so much. It's just an anxiety removal factor. It's like an insurance policy that you put into your painting, sketching out where the eyes are going to go, where the nose is going to go. Symmetry is easy to determine. Asymmetry is stuff that's disproportionate. Control, flip your canvas, and you'll find them. So that's why I don't waste time. I call it wasting time. Sketching out the picture, just with a small brush early on. I don't need to do that if I have my large brush and I have my reference on the side. So it really comes down to how confident are you painting with a larger brush? Is there like some sort of, do you have a knowledge that you don't paint very well with a large brush? If you have that knowledge of yourself, good. Now, what are you going to do to make sure that you can become comfortable, that you force yourself to grow comfortable if you want to paint like I do, that is, to work with a larger brush. Working with a small brush early on, all that's ever going to do is encourage you to think like the small brush is your savior. It isn't. It's your enemy. At the end of the day, when you're trying to form those massive geometries that read really well zoomed out. And by the way, my eye is always on the navigator. That little box of the picture on the side, that's the navigator. My eyes are always on the navigator. Every 3 or 4 brush strokes with the large brush that I do, straight into the navigator. As you can see, I'm not zooming back in. I'm pretty much at the same zoom out level the entire time. I have control at the zoom out level. As you can see, I'm resizing stuff. So at this zoom out level, I can see where the issues are, and an even greater zoom out level, sort of like God mode I call it, with the navigator. So I didn't have to sketch out the lips before I threw in those major shadows. It's right there in front of me now. And all I have to do is either add highlights or add deeper shadows, because those are really the only two that speak form and volume, and as well as the edge, which is very important. A line does none of that for you. which is why it's not good to start off these major sketches, these realism sketches, too dependent on the line. It means that you're going to always come back to the line. Oh, it reads well with a line. Let me throw a tiny little line. I'll sneak that in there. And suddenly your image looks flatter. So how do you maintain the volume, maintain the realism, make sure it's all rounded up and you have real edges and you have real form and real gradients and real values? Really, the only way to do that is to escape the line just early on. Right from the get-go, there are no lines used. And it's always a meditation on form and value. It's always a meditation of light on form, light on geometry. Where are the edges? What should be blended? What shouldn't be blended? So this is one of the few successful images that I have in the week. I try to stream every night or paint every night since my New Year's resolution. I was trying to force myself to do way more sketches, a massive, greater volume of art. Generally was my resolution, which is what I've been trying to do. Oh, that's a little shot of League. But yeah, I was messing around in this hangout. It was really fun. But it's really, once at the end of the day, once you have all that massive volume, you find success is a lot less possible. Because you're drawing so much, you're experimenting so much. It's like the more baseball bats you get to shoot at a target. I mean, the more baseballs you get to shoot at a target, the less you're going to try each time. But if you only have that one try, you're most likely going to pressure yourself to succeed. That's some Aussie over there. She was messing around on my shoes. So basically, it's like that. The more shots you get, the less success, I think. But it is a greater volume. It means I'm still I'm still thinking about art. My mind is still wrapped around art. But a few of the hours I spend in the week come to be so successful, which is why I've been trying to share it with you. And I share with you my revelations. I share with you exactly what got me to this to this success level. Which is I didn't zoom in and I kept my eyes on the navigator, kept myself zoomed out, controlled my edges, made sure my eye was always on my edges. Right here I'm creating some real sharp edges around the eyelids, and edges give you detail, and if a student doesn't have knowledge of this much power that the edge can give you, they will shrink back to that tiny little brush and start drawing in some lashes, and it still won't look right and they won't know why, because the edge is so important. I was showing my streamers some of the traditional work that I did. They were asking about it. So that's pretty much it. It's a lot of thinking about what you really want to do, where you want to go, what kind of artist do you want to be. There really is that question. There are some artists that never shrink their brush, that never use a small line, and they work around that, and their entire art journey works around that. There are some that want to work very close to their sketches, turning their sketches into fully rendered images, which is really it's really concept friendly to do that, because that way you get the pitch instead of going in and starting to render. You can just do a quick sketch and show your art director what it is that you want to complete for them, or show them this specific design. It's good to be versatile, to be able to do both, render like this and stay connected to your lines, but never confuse the two. When you're going in for sculpting, don't mind that sketch. When you're going in for sculpting, you really want to work large to small. Imagine yourself having a piece of marble or a piece of clay. You wouldn't use the small brush. You wouldn't use the small little carving tool. You would use a large scalpel, whatever it's called. I'm not sure what it's called. You would use that, and you would, pull away at the larger pieces of marble and clay and shave them off till you get a nice large, however messy, shape of the head. And out of that you start to add in detail. This is a never give up video. My watchers are forcing me to see. But yeah, here I'm messing with some levels. Levels are really important. I do like to have contrast, but I did find with this study I'm afraid of contrast. I did find that. Because once you have those nice edges, you really don't want to mess with your painting. It looks nice, you don't want to mess with it. So what I was doing is I'm kind of just forcing myself to see how much better it might look if I had a little bit more contrast. I do tend to have pretty washed out looking images. So work large to small, avoid the line when sculpting a face. Be sure to attempt some contrast, keep your brush large, and try to address the contrast early on without having to depend on Photoshop tools. And that's pretty much it. That's the entire gist of this. Everything else is pretty much hit and miss, and you have to have the mileage in to have success happen. It's not always not every session you're gonna do is gonna bring out a successful painting. Not every time you're going to draw is going to be a good day for art. It's not going to be a those those days that you look back and you're like, yeah, I succeeded that day. I made some real work that I can throw on my portfolio. Not every time is going to look like that. And what we have to do is just have hope that the mileage that we're putting in will take us to that next successful piece. It's like really just traveling in the dark and you're jumping in feet first, drawing every single day. It's different. There's sometimes I draw once a week and every one of those is successful. And then I've been trying to force myself to have more mileage because I really want to develop a faster technique. So I need mileage for that. And just giving in and realizing that not every painting I do each day is going to be successful is one massive thing that I've learned. I attempt at it, and that's a good thing. And I challenge you guys to try it. Try painting every single day. See what it does really in the greater picture. What it does for your versatility. It keeps you flexible. It keeps you aware of your artistic environment, and it keeps you disciplined. That's really the biggest thing that I wanted to get better at is my discipline. Treating it like it's something that I simply cannot skip, and I have to do it at least a little bit every single day to keep myself close to my art and close to my method. Thank you guys for your patronage. You guys are amazing. You guys have stuck with me, some of you almost a year now. You guys are wonderful. Thank you so much. And I hope that these videos help you. I'll be attaching some more goodies on this reward. Thanks, guys. Have a great day. Bye bye.